So the fact that you're here suggests you're already curious about curiosity, and clearly that's a great place to start. But I thought it might be useful to have a little understanding of our journey, how we happened to get here, why we've devoted over 15 years of our lives researching curiosity, why we happen to name our business Curiousmind, but probably more importantly to give you some insight into how developing your curiosity could bring you a lot more satisfaction, happiness and all the other wonderful things in life. So winding it right back, about 15 years ago I attended a conference that the Dalai Lama presented at. I don't know if you've ever heard the Dalai Lama speak. He's a wonderfully engaging character. He's got a very cheeky sense of humour, a little hard to understand, but very engaging character. And at one point someone in the audience posed a question, and for the life of me I can't remember what the question was. What I do remember was the Dalai Lama's answer, because it was burnt into my brain, and here 15 years later I still remember it. So what the Dalai Lama said was this. He chuckled a little bit and he said, "You people in the West, you're amazing. You set the bar for working out what it is that you want and then working out what you need to do in order to get what you want." And he said, and you excel at that. In the West, you obsess about this stuff. And then he said this, but he said, we're not called human doings, we're called human beings. And you might want to think a bit about who you need to be rather than what you have to do in order to get the things you want in life. Now, intuitively, I knew this was deeply profound. I had no idea what the hell it meant, but I knew it was deep. So I remember going home and speaking to my wife about it, and we played around with it for a few hours. And at one point I realized, okay, this is not right. I'm not ready for it. And so I put it on my back burner. Now, what I mean by that is I love cooking. I love making stocks, and I'll oftentimes put a big pot on the back of the stove and just let it bubble over for 8, 12, even more hours sometimes. And so that's where I put this idea of the being, the difference between being and doing. I just put it back there, and it percolated away for a few days. And then one night I literally sat up on bed and had a eureka moment. And I realized, my God, this is what I've been doing for the last 10, 15 years of my life, whether it be working with youth at risk, working with executive leadership teams, or going out into oil platforms, or even working with creative agencies. I've been going in there, helping people get clear on what it is that they want, and then teaching them a range of skills, doing things in order to achieve that. But what occurred to me that night was, there are some people that do all these things I teach intuitively, naturally. So if I could show you a slide, that might help a little bit here. There we've got a bunch of results that you might look at. The typical things that I come up around, being more effective in a range of areas. And these are some of the skills that I would normally teach people: how to listen more deeply, listening for intent rather than for something to respond to, how to ask better questions, how to innovate, etc., etc. But this night, as I sat up in bed, I realised that I've come across people from time to time, not that often, but nevertheless enough. I've come across people who do all of that intuitively. And of course, that being state is curious. You don't need to teach curious people how to listen better. Curious people listen deeply. They listen to every word you're saying for understanding. You don't need to teach curious people how to ask better questions or more questions. Curious people won't stop until they find a solution. And thank God. That's the curiosity of a young child that embarks out on voyages of exploration and discovery in order to learn. And so with this in mind, I started to think, well, I need to understand curiosity a bit better. I'd heard the word used all my life, but I didn't really understand it. So it began 15 years of research to look at what exactly curiosity is, and probably more importantly, what happens to it. I think we would all agree, for those, whether you're a parent or not, we would all agree that children are born with curiosity in spades. It's extraordinary to watch young children embark on voyages of discovery, explore the unknown, ask questions until they get the result they want. So we're all born with a healthy, innate curiosity. But I think you'd agree that many of us, not all, but many of us actually lose a lot of our innate gift as we work our way through life. And so we've been studying that to work out what it is, and most importantly is, how can we help people reinvigorate their natural innate gift? Because it's been our experience that when people re-engage with their natural curiosity, we don't have to teach them anymore. they can go out and find the solutions themselves.